Hey, good to be with you. It's good to see you again. Good to see some new people, some returning people. This is going to be a wonderful training, insights, experience, how to get unstuck, claim your power, find your voice. This is Philip Montrose with my wonderful partner and companion, Jane Montrose. And today in this training, this webinar, we want to go into some very important pieces of the puzzle here of your spiritual growth. And it's a great opportunity really to grow into your fuller identity as a magnificent spiritual being with a unique message, a unique purpose, and using your gifts and skills. And that's a wonderful thing. And we're here at Awakenings Institute, our nonprofit organization, to support people in doing that. And we've been doing it for many years, decades actually. And we've helped people with spiritual coaching and healing. We've helped people with our publications. More recently, we've been going deeply into becoming a spiritual guide, which involves connecting with masters, goddesses, which we're going to do today also in this course, and getting connected, going deeper. Oracle decks, special ways to find hidden relationships. But it started years ago with us, with Jane and myself, and we were stuck, and you do continually, periodically become stuck. That's part of the story for us all. And the idea is to recognize it and to know how to become unstuck. And we're going to give you some key things to know about that today. And for us, we went forward. We luckily took some opportunities, a lot of trial and error, explorations. We didn't give up. We kept going deeper. NLP, holistic hypnotherapy, energy healing. We developed a lot of our own techniques, which we discussed and trained people in and continue to do. And that really empowers yourself, the topic of this webinar, and you find your own voice in the process. And it's unique to each of us, of course, but there are common themes and keys as we'll explore today. And it's actually in some ways easier to empower yourself, find your own voice today, because you have the leverage, the support of this time that we're living in, sometimes called the time of great awakening. And there's some real solutions and opportunities today going forward. So that takes us into our next part here about expanding your reality and some problems and solutions to that. Jane?
Right. Yeah. It's a fascinating topic. And I think people who know us and know me know also that it's just something that I'm always fascinated by it, about how magnificent we are, how special our souls are, how great the opportunities are for us to live fully and grow. And it really starts in a way with a contrast that I want to provide, which you might call it a tale of two realities. And the first one is what you might call actually the illusion. It is the reality where many people actually exist now, probably the majority of humanity. It's living, and you can also just feel what it feels like, what this reality feels like as I describe it. So it is an unfriendly world where we're victims of forces that are greater than ourselves, where there is nothing really particularly supporting us. And we lack the power to really change our lives effectively. We lack that ability to open to our truth and open to really our voice, because we view ourselves as limited. And in many ways, you could say to greater or lesser degrees, that we're repressed by the environment that we live in and the possibilities that we see for ourselves, because of the way that you could say the masses of humanity defines this reality. So this is the victim in an unfriendly world, essentially. And you might just feel what that feels like, whether you might not believe that's true for you now, and hopefully not completely. But just feel it wherever you are. Feel what that feels like in your body. And to me, it feels heavy. It's like I don't have that much energy. And I don't feel like my soul can soar. So then there is the other world, which if that one was the illusion, then this next one is what we would call the truth. The truth is that we're self-empowered creators who live in a friendly universe where we're supported by more than we could possibly imagine. And I think we're discovering that ourselves more and more every day. We're here to uncover our unique greatness as fully enlightened beings, also. We're magnificent beings ourselves. And to be able to empower ourselves, to be able to speak our truths, to be able to feel alive. And I think that sense of aliveness to me is a really wonderful kind of all purpose measurement of where you are in relation to how you view reality and your possibilities. Because when we believe that we're being supported in a friendly universe, we do feel alive. And I think what we're going to be, actually, the picture we're going to be painting, you might say, today is of the friendly universe that we live in. And the difference between the illusion of limitation that keeps people stuck and that opportunity that is here for all of us right now.
And I just wanted to mention we're going to be doing definitely stay till the end because we're going to do a special demonstration of empowering yourself with some a healing process using an oracle card and also tell you how to go forward if you want to go further with this kind of approach.
Right. Yeah. And if you're not where you want to be right now, or if you're partway there and you want to go further, then this might be what you're looking for, or that we might have something here that can support you today. As Philip said, we have a wonderful healing process. One of our favorites, which I can't wait to get into. Sunny's going to, Sanaz over here is going to, she's volunteered to be the client for it. And I think it's going to be really special. So that's kind of the foundation. And before we go further, I also want to just bring our energy together, because whenever we come together, it is our intention that we come together in a space of love and kindness and support and openness to the divine, openness to what is possible for us or might be. We don't necessarily know what it all is. So can just take a moment if you're in a place where you can close your eyes and just breathe and just imagine or allow yourself to breathe in the most amazing energy possible from the universe around you. Philip was suggesting there are gods and goddesses and masters, and there are angels and all kinds of beings of light who are here. And if you ask them to send you the most amazing light for you in this moment and love, they will. So just breathe in that beautiful energy and sense that we are being supported in this moment together, because we are. And together also we're creating an event for ourselves. So just taking that moment, and as you breathe and allow yourself to release any thoughts that you don't need now from earlier in the day or from wherever you came from into this Zoom webinar. So you can feel yourself being present in your body and being available to receive blessings from the divine during this time together. So with that, it is again returning to our subject for today, which is about finding your voice and finding your power. It might be something else. It's like, what do you feel might be missing for you to be your very best, to be your personal best in life? That's really what we're talking about. And it is on a broader level. On a broader level, because we are creators. And to understand it, I think the easiest way for me to understand it is to understand that I am a creator because the creator resides in me. And this is because there is a spark of the divine in our hearts. And that is actually the life force. That's what produces life force for us, is that energy within our hearts, that love, that sense of power and wisdom that we have. It's a threefold flame in the heart: love, power, and wisdom. And that interestingly connects with our theme. Love is, of course, elevating, and then empowering ourselves and opening our voices, opening to our truth. It's like it's our birthright. It's right here. And it's ours for the asking and for the taking. And it's a process. So understanding that also, we are spiritual beings. We're here for a reason, which our souls clearly understand, but we may not fully. I'm not sure if any of us understand it fully. It's a journey. It's a story. It's a story that's in the making all the time. And it's changing. It's evolving as we evolve, which is part of the magic of the whole thing. So what we're talking about is a reality shift, again, from that limited, unfriendly world into the friendly universe that offers more than we can possibly imagine, from my perspective, anyhow. And I haven't found any limit to it as I keep opening to more. And you can see Buddy appreciates it too. He always shows up. He says, I love this energy. Yeah. And of course, along with this, it's an opportunity to become fully engaged in life. I think Philip and I appreciate it, and many of you too. But for us, it's because we did reach a point in life where we weren't living, and we knew it. And I could feel that kind of that loss of energy I was talking about at the beginning, where you feel like, no, this isn't working for me. And I didn't know at all what that meant. Opening to the divine, and then feeling fully alive and excited about every day. I hardly could make myself get up in the morning. This was quite many years ago at this point. But now I'm always excited about what's going to be before me each day, because it's magical, and it can be that way for all of us. so that's what we're here for. It's an amazing place to be. And it's an opportunity that we're suggesting, a place also where wanting to be in a place where you feel like you have a full range of resources for going there, and for being able to be there and stay there, to enter that more expansive, mystical, magical kind of a life that who wouldn't want it, that everybody wants. Anyhow, it's changed our lives, and I think Philip will share more about that. And also, we have actually with us some people we don't know, and some who have been friends and clients and students of ours for different periods of time, up to many years. And we're just so grateful for all of you, because we also are a community in spirit. And I think that's another part of what we're here for, and why it's personal to us, and why we want to have that opportunity to connect with people directly like this.
Which segues into the next part of the webinar here about becoming unstuck, claiming your power, finding your voices, accessing your full range of tools and resources. So what that means is where you get stuck and need these range of tools and resources, it shows up in the kind of 3D external world we live in. It might be in your career, in your relationships, in your health, some combination of that, maybe something else. And then when you get stuck, you have to really want to change. Now that's different than complaining and feeling like a victim. That's feeling like I'm stuck. I don't know what to do, but I want to do something different. And that's what today is all about. How can we do something different that actually works, that goes from this?
Could I say something?
Yes, go ahead.
Because it made me think there's a certain allure to being a victim too. It's like, oh, poor me. I just don't have all the opportunities I deserve. This is such a tough life.
Yeah.
That kind of
thinking and feeling.
And we can be taught that as children. Like,
right.
Don't expect much. Not much was going to happen for you. And by the way, you're not smart enough anyhow, so you might as well forget it.
and we don't want to dismiss definite challenges and things that happen from external sources, like governments, weather authorities. There's things that happen, but they still are part of our path and our journey, and we can use for growth and transformation, as we'll go into this a little more.
Right.
So you need to really want to change from being unstuck. You need to really want to empower yourself, find your voice. And that's one of the keys to it, the starting place. And you might want to measure, just as a starting place, of how clear you are, how stuck you are, where you are right now. And as we go forward here in the short training today, you can start to make some measurements and shifts and comparisons for yourself. And what we're talking about, we call tools for the new frontier for humanity tools. And this could be considered a tool, this little brief exercise I'm going to guide you on, and for finding your true potential. So let's say you imagine or think of a box, say put in two. I have a little screen share here for you, just so you imagine on one side is your mundane life, your settled for life, the life that probably is filled with some stuckness and lack of energy. Maybe some depression and anxiety, unhappiness there on that one left side of the box. You're just basically surviving. You're staying alive. Notice your energy when you're in that kind of place. Okay. And now we're going to shift over to another place, the other side of the box. So we're going to raise our energy, rising to a higher place, just sensing yourself expanding. Could be going to a mountaintop of a cloud, or just a higher awareness, energy feeling place for you, which maybe you've been there before. Just invite yourself to experience that now in your mind, your body, your whole being. And notice how you're feeling now in that place. And you can evaluate both experiences. Could say one is being stuck, being kind of in that mundane survival state, and the other one is alive, feeling like possibilities, possibility thinking, feeling like potential, using your strengths, having purpose. So that's just a little brief excursion that kind of get a taste of what we're talking about. And of course, it can take more to live that, but that when you have those tools and have support, as I'm about to say, I can make a big difference. So these keys to getting unstuck, to find your voice, to know your purpose, to feel more authentic in life, is accessing the full range of resources. And you could enumerate that by having these 4 areas in mind: knowing where you want to go, accessing the best or the right resources, maybe learning how to use these resources, and opening to this whole new story of yourself going on further and deeper into your journey into wholeness. So what does that mean? Well, where am I going? Where am I going to change in my life? What we're talking here, which is very different from the 3D mass consciousness that surrounds us, is empowering and connecting with our inner worlds. I'm talking about connecting with your soul, your inner higher awareness. I'm talking about connecting with higher guides, goddesses, gods, masters, and we're about to do that in the demonstration shortly. And when you have that, you have sort of the wind behind your back. You don't feel like the cards are stacked against you and feeling disempowered there. And as you start to have these resources available, and you have a community of people supporting you, which is very important, connecting with those people, you're not alone anymore, because it's very hard to do this alone, especially going against the mass consciousness in the mainstream. So you want to have that support, and you'll find it. We offer it here at Awakenings and our trainings, and there are other elsewhere too. And then you want to learn how to use the resources. I just did a brief exercise. We have many of them. So when you have these tools and they're at your disposal and you keep learning them and practicing them, they become a way of life, a spiritual practice, a community. And that's very wonderful. And as you do that, you open to a whole new story. You have a new lifestyle. Uh, you have more aliveness, more appreciation. And when you appreciate your life, you feel more alive. You have more possibilities and you find more possibilities. You have more synchronicities. And then this bigger picture synchronicities come into play because you have a bigger picture. You're seeing, you're not tunnel vision and in a victim reality and reinforcing that. You're seeing all these possibilities before you and you have people supporting you. So next, I just want to share briefly some of the old patterns, the old ways we get stuck. And there are three of them that are common, these three paradigms that keep us stuck and hold us back. One is looking for fulfillment outside of yourself. What do other people think? And what do other people want of me? And this may be strong because there's a lot of distractions, there's a lot of information, there's a lot of even spiritual things out there which may or may not be useful to you or even accurate. There's a lot of entertainment, there's addictions. Social media can be a real dark rabbit hole to fall down to at times. All of this can be positive too. I mean, other people and other in media, but it can be a real problem, this paradigm, to feel free and unstuck and empower yourself. The second paradigm that can keep you stuck is following gurus and teachers. Now, gurus and teachers, we've had some along the way.
Some gurus and teachers were saying, not all.
Not all of them. And even at a certain point, the best ones you need to release yourself to empower yourself on, but they can be good temporarily or not, or sometimes they're just good to teach you how not to depend on them. But they can be a sort of trap or something to be aware of because they can disempower you and take the power away from you and say that you need sort of permission or approval or have to be a follower of them.
Yeah. Can I add to that?
Please, yeah.
I think this became clear to us because we actually, Philip and I met in an organization many, many years ago where the teacher was the truth sayer. And this is, I think, what we're talking about is that where the teacher holds all the truth and everyone is just supposed to do what the teacher says.
Mm-hmm.
The real, I think, a real mystery school, you could say, and we're going to be talking about mystery schools, is one where there's an understanding that each of us has the truth and that we're helping each other to open to the truth that lies within ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what psychologists call this is a locus of control, where your control is. If it's external, you're looking outside at society. You often think things are very random and outside of your control. The cards are stacked against you. It's real happenstance. And when it's internal locus, you have much more control. You're not so vulnerable to unhappiness, anxiety, depression, because you know what you can control and what you can't, and you feel confident in that. And that mentions the third paradigm that can throw you back, the holding pattern that I mentioned, the first one, looking outside yourself, second, gurus and teachers. Third is the critics of people you know, the family members, the friends who say, that'll never work, that you can't do that, watch out, don't do that, that doesn't make sense, beware, and so forth. And some of them may be very well intended, but you're going to places that they are not aware of, that are beyond where they are. So they can't understand that. And it reminds me of an old friend I spoke with recently, who I really like with and enjoyed his company. But when it came to talking about spiritual things, he revealed that he believes everything is generated from the brain. There's nothing after life. Everything, if it's a near-death experience, it was all generated in the brain, even if you're clinically dead. I don't know how, when it gets to a certain point with these discussions, even scientists who believe in what's called scientific materialism, this approach of everything is physical and brain generated and scientific, which has very wonderful things too, but I'm not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. But when you rely solely on this approach, and people run up against this, and when you talk to people, what they interestingly do, these are even top brilliant scientists, they just dismiss it, say that's not possible, and they don't go there. They don't rationally discuss it anymore. It's just like, no, that can't work. That's not
Right.
possible.
Yeah. I think, isn't it true? Philip is much more of a reader than I am, but I think it has been shown to be true in scientific tests, even. The beliefs of the scientists have an impact on the results.
Oh yeah.
So if you put together a group of scientists who don't believe, like Philip is saying, they don't believe that anything else is possible, that's what they're going to find.
Yeah, it's a self-fulfilling
Going to be able to
prophecy.
validate it.
Yeah, you can confirming bias, you just sort of get what you're seeing.
Right.
So that's the challenge of what we're talking about here, of transcending these limitations, these old paradigms, to become unstuck in the way that we're looking for spiritual growth, and claiming your true power based on your purpose and your deeper identity, and finding your
Right.
voice as a result. And so
Right.
you do need support for this, uh, and to go within and to make these choices for yourself, these
Right.
empowering choices.
Yeah.
And that takes us to the next part of our training here.
Yeah.
Uh,
What we discovered.
what we have discovered, some personal discoveries related to becoming unstuck,
Right.
empowerment, and your voice.
Right. Yeah. And it is, over the years, we've been doing this kind of work for decades now, and there are periods, different periods of discovery. I think all of us find that we have different phases in our development. And the most recent one started for us a few years ago, now 3 or 4 years ago, um, when I was actually having a Reiki session. A friend of mine was doing it for me, and during this session, Archangel Metatron came to me, and that's where he's the one who said, "Well, it's time for you to access your full range of resources." And I had no idea what he was talking about. So it is something that has been revealed to us a bit over time, um, since then. But it really is the things that we've been suggesting about. If you look at, we have this picture of reality where the only thing that's true for us is what we can see with our experience with our five senses, our physical senses. And we do also have intuitive senses. So what we're talking about also then is opening to our intuitive senses and the reality, the larger reality that is around us, that is, it's just so full of blessings from angels and goddesses and gods and masters, and our own higher selves connecting with us and showing us who we really are. um, I'm not sure if Philip mentioned it yet. Something that we teach in this, we're talking about, with the spiritual guide program. It's a 1 year program. We also go into the Akashic records and track who we are, like our history. You can go back. And what happened actually in that particular Reiki session also is that I had a I had been aware for many years at that point of, um, an experience that I had when I was in Atlantis. And, talking about expanding, really expanding your beliefs. This one was so tangible for me that I couldn't not believe it, because
Mm-hmm.
it was the fall of Atlantis. And the thing, it still is hard to even say it, but the experience was being in a place where everything was exploding and the smell was of human flesh burning. Very tangible, very real. And that experience I had, now it's probably been, um, 15, maybe 15 years or so, maybe a little more. But at that time, it was maybe 10 years earlier, and I couldn't clear it. With all of the techniques that we had, I couldn't clear it. And somehow, miraculously, in that session, Metatron was able to support me in clearing it, and it hasn't been an issue ever since. In talking about actually a human flesh burning is always unpleasant, obviously. But the trauma, it was like extremely traumatic. I remember Philip was actually supporting me
Mm-hmm.
in the process when it came up. And I think I was wailing, wasn't I? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it was
Mm-hmm.
really, it was just incredibly traumatic.
Yeah.
So, I mention it only because it made such a significant impression on me that I was willing to listen to Metatron at that time. And it wasn't really, I couldn't go any further then, but I went back and connected with him later. And he said, what I'm talking with you about is connecting with all of these beings who are around you, this whole reality. Also, all of nature is alive. You know, we're supported in nature. There are beings who direct the four elements of nature. And of course, like I mentioned, archangels, masters, everything is alive. And on a universal level, you can expand out into the cosmos in just tremendously amazing ways. And as I suggested, and both of us have suggested, really connect with the truth that you are a master yourself. You are a magnificent spiritual being. And this is where that distinction comes in. What Philip was talking about is we're discovering ourselves in this. That's what this whole thing is about for us. We wrote a short book that I think we're going to put it out in paperback as soon as we can pull it together. Right now we have it as an ebook that's available to our students, and it's called Awakening to Your Magnificence. And it's about entering what we call the next new frontier for humanity. And it is, that frontier is, a lot of people actually, kind of 3D people, think that the next new frontier is perfecting the brain more. You know, like I can perfect my brain and think clearer and all of those things, which is great. But what we're talking about is expanding our perception in a multidimensional way so that we can perceive these beings and actually create close connections and relationships with them that are meaningful and are part of our everyday lives now. For us, they are. If you take, just as an example, an angelic presence, the love is so sublime, you might say. It's hard to even imagine how magnificent it is. And to receive from all of these beings in the higher dimensions, they're beings of divine love. And so that's what we're doing. We're connecting with that broader sense of reality. And then out in the world, we're connecting with nature and the nature spirits. And as I said, there are directors of the four elements even who you can connect with, like Neptune. We've all heard of Neptune and the water element. Neptune is a being you can actually connect with, and he'll tell you about water, the element of water, in a way that maybe you've never, probably have never even considered before. How alive the whole world is with opportunities for us, and how we are co-creating with the elemental kingdom. It's fascinating. So there's so much. It takes time, and as Philip was suggesting, that's the reason why we need each other, because it really confronts beliefs. For me, it has confronted my beliefs in pretty profound ways. Ways where I felt like I wasn't going to be able to move forward with whatever was being suggested, and then finding my way through it so that I could move even further. So we are here as a community for each other, for that too. And it's not, none of it is unpleasant. It's not challenging our beliefs in that way, but we'll just take the idea, you are a magnificent spiritual being. You are a master in the making. I mean, that is a challenge, I think, for most of us. And yet, when you connect with these beings, they'll tell you, yeah, that's right. Of course.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because if you have been aware of them and have been exposed to them, you probably notice that they act as if you are a master now. And we are. It's kind of a catch-22.
Paradox.
Right. It's a paradox for us. But they see us in our full potential, in our fullness. And of course, the contrast to that, which we do want to make, is not all solutions are equal. And we've gone through a lot of spiritual trainings and different things that were superficial and not real. And from my experience with this is real. This is a real process of transformation that is available to anyone who is open to it.
Right. And you have to realize, if you want to step outside the box and grow spiritually, which I'm imagining everyone watching this is in that place, you need to take some risks. You need to explore. You need to find the right support and tools, as we've saying, because it's going to challenge your beliefs, your previous reality, to go to this new, higher, more expansive reality, and it's often far beyond the mainstream.
Right. Yeah. And of course, just being exposed to that as a concept at first, I'm a pragmatist, and I need to find something that works. I was trying to think, well, connect with the archangels, how can I get to know the archangels? I'm not at all sure. Nobody's taught me that. And then I thought, well, I think I've seen decks of oracle cards where there are archangels on them, and I could draw a card each day and meet an angel in that way. So that's where it started with the archangels, and it's moved, obviously, broadened out in all directions. But we found the oracle cards, and also then using the tarot, have been tools that exceeded our expectations too. That as we started using them, they helped us to connect with our resources externally and internally. Because what they do is like, we call it now organized synchronicity, where readings, and we have very specific focuses for them and specific cards, because you need to have something that is of a proper vibration, that they synchronously guide us on our journey. They point out our strengths, they point out our challenges, they can help us to understand our next steps forward. And these are tools that now we use regularly, again, pretty much daily. Not that we would necessarily do a reading every day, but it is a part of our reality along with all of these other things that we're using to transform our perspectives on who we are and what's possible for us.
It can be part of your spiritual practice. And in just a few minutes, we're going to show you a demonstration of how this works.
Right, right. And it does. I think that's the thing that has been wonderful. And it is, when we really started looking into it, I made that reference earlier to the mystery schools. And we've thought of our trainings for many years as being mystery teachings, because they are designed to help people to transform. And they are real solutions to help people to find themselves. And so I think that's what Philip was going to.
Yeah, that's our next chapter in the webinar here. And we're calling this Building on Treasures from the Past. And we're talking about, as Jane said, mystery schools, and that may be a term you've heard before. It's shown up throughout human history, from Atlantis to Egypt, Greece, the Lucinian schools. It's in the Gnostic teachings in early Christianity, Rosicrucians, Freemasons. So it shows up, these mystery schools are esoteric. It's knowledge for actually people to awaken. And it really correlates wonderfully with what we've been sharing today of finding the truth in yourself. It's not replacing your truth. It's showing you ways and practices, spiritual practices and support on how to go further in your journey in an empowered way. And they used to be very hidden because of repression from the powers that be would find it threatening to the established order. It's not quite that threatening anymore. It's sometimes called, the mystery schools, the middle path. And that's kind of a nice way of describing it. It's a path of love, a path of balance. It's not extremes. It's not having to go into a monastery or reclusiveness for long periods of time. It's very direct, so you can be learning these tools, these practices, and still having your everyday life with your family and work and so forth, and shifting from the inside out and seeing where it's taking you. And it's going to help you access your full range of resources. And some of the mystery schools were led by beings of light, archangels, ascended masters, and such, like the Order of Melchizedek, Saint Germain. So they do refer to these higher beings. And as Jane has mentioned in our new book, Awakening to Your Magnificence, Your Journey into the Next New Frontier of Humanity, in that book, we talk about mystery schools, and we use that book as one of the guidebooks for our upcoming spiritual guide program. So it's really about becoming a leader of your own life in whatever way that's right for you, and empowering yourself with these tools and resources to find your own voice. And that's really exciting. And it's very practical. And it has what one of our students called real tools for real change to help you get unstuck by looking inside, getting the support from your soul, from these higher guides, and applying that to your life so you can learn to live it with that internal locus of control, that journey from viewing yourself as a victim to a creator, empowering yourself. And it just radiates out into your everyday life in whatever way is right for you to become unstuck. And it's very transformative, and it's fun, it's practical. And if you're called to do it, we encourage you to follow that calling, following that voice. So we want to go into a demonstration with Sunny is here, and Jane is going to take her through a process, one of our processes called the monster reframe process. First of all, though, we want to use
a question first.
Yes,
can I
go ahead, Sunny.
You mentioned Freemasons. Is that the same Freemasons that is around now?
Yeah, there's still Freemasons and Rosicrucians. And we're not
really cool because
currently updated on them. Yeah.
My son is 19 now, and he has actually reached out to join Freemasons. And I know there's two things. You're supposed to be over 18. You should believe in a higher power and have no criminal backgrounds. Those are
right.
only
So that's all you need, and you're good to go. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And it's around the world.
Yeah, they're still there. These schools, and different people have different ways of putting spiritual practices, so people can apply them and use them in their everyday life.
Good. I'm even more for it now. Then I will share that with my son.
They have different levels within them, as many of us probably already know, that it becomes more esoteric and more sheltered as you go on.
Yeah.
So the truth is hidden still within the organization.
Yeah, so it can be kind of a labyrinth to get through that. Yeah.
Right. And I'm not saying that as a criticism, but what I'm saying is I think we're presenting the same kinds of truth out in the open.
Yeah.
And really it is I think you could say in some ways the truth is hidden out in the open because most people aren't listening anyhow. Like Philip was talking about his friend, and it is just, for him, it's just a matter of where he is on his journey. It's not to say there's something wrong with him. But it is, we reach that point, all of us, where we know we need to go further.
Right. And the reason why we do trainings that are 4 to 12 months is it takes a while to go deeper into this. It's not just a 1 or 2 weeks, or just, now I'm deeply connected with angels and support systems and everything. And it's well worth the investment if that's what you're being called to do, because it will transform your life going forward. Right. And to help you do that, as I said, the beginning of this demo process is kind of exciting. One of the oracle decks we use and teach in our upcoming course is Keepers of the Light, Kyle Gray. Kyle Gray, and he has different masters. There's different oracle decks with different themes, and this is of the masters, ascended masters, beings who are on the earth or elsewhere, who mastered their lessons and are now communicating or available to us from a higher realm if we connect with them. So I want to connect with them.
Just one note with that. Also, that includes, when we talk about masters, a lot of times people think of male figures because there are, we all know of a lot of male
Right.
masters probably that we've heard of. It also includes beings that are known as goddesses and masters.
Right.
And I'll talk about that a little bit in a minute too when Philip
Yeah.
finishes
So
with
the
the reading.
goddesses
But
and
it's
gods
right,
and
it's
masters.
goddesses, gods, and masters. We could
Yeah.
say all of those beings who have been where we are and now have transcended the limitations that we're transcending.
Yeah.
So they know they know what the journey's all about.
We're grouping it together as a collective and relatively interchangeable. And this deck is a very nice deck with very powerful cards, just like you see one of
Yeah.
them on the cover. And
I
I'm
should
going to
get
draw
mine.
one of the cards with the focus. And when you do the oracles, you do have a focus. And oracles and tarot are related, but tarot is a specific kind of oracle. This is an oracle
An
theme,
oracle.
a theme of masters, goddesses, gods, and ascended enlightened masters. I'm just shuffling the deck here. And the focus is an area, a master who can help us become unstuck and claim our power and find our voice. So that'll be the focus of this card. I'm going to draw to get some information from a master. So I'll pick one. This feels about right. See the man. Ooh, okay. And this is one we're all familiar with. Mother Mary. Mother Mary. This will be very powerful. I'm feeling it already. And the subtitle tagline is Love and Peace with the let go of the need to be right. Choose peace. Mother healing is possible at this time, and we're going to do a healing process. So you can kind of focus into that card and the energy and the peace. It's interesting when you do find your own way and you go on this deeper path that we're talking about today, you do have a lot more peace in your life because even however chaotic the externals are, you have that place of inner peace that it's more available to you with beings like Mother Mary supporting you. That's very wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And something I really appreciate about these particular cards is with using them, I started to notice that these are beautiful illustrations, and looking into their eyes, I can feel their presence with me. And it's like then I have a conversation with them, and I know that they're with me, which is so beautiful. I also want to mention with Mother Mary, I know some people have a negative kind of reaction to anything that it implies Christianity, and we're not talking about Christianity the way it's taught now. We're talking about a divine being of love and light who is here to support us among many.
Yeah, and other beings
who come from all different cultures.
There are other beings like Buddha and Saint Germain and Kuan Yin from other cultures and other traditions too. But there's a vast array.
Right. So each of us connects with the ones who are right for us in the moment, which is just amazing.
So we're going to have a demo healing for getting unstuck and claiming power, finding your voice.
Right. And just as a note, some people consider Mother Mary also to be angelic. And it's interesting because Sunny is pretty angelic in my eyes. Sunny has volunteered to be with
Mother
us.
Mary may overlight this process in this demo.
How does that feel for having Sunny, for having Mother Mary overlight the process?
Perfect. I love Mother Mary, and I already feel the energy. I feel her presence.
I do too. Yeah, because she's so beautiful, just so loving. Really beautiful energy. To begin, I wanted to mention what the monster reframe is. It's a process that we've actually used for years, and it's interesting. It draws on the use of imagery, and with the focus on, if you're focused on empowering yourself more and wanting to find your voice, or wanting to overcome fears or anxiety, it could be anything. This is a process that has value. And it's both, to me, it's enlightening and almost, you could say, sometimes entertaining. It's like if you look at where we have limitations or where we feel like we're blocked, like maybe by fear or anxiety or anger or frustration or whatever it happens to be, if it's something that we feel we can't change, it's because we view it as being larger than we are. And this is where the monster idea comes in. And I did one recently. I wanted to share about anxiety. And like many people, I experience anxiety now and then. And I wanted to overcome this anxiety. So I did the process. And the process, it starts with, well, first you want to be focused. You want to be focused on one particular thing. So I'm focused on this anxiety that I was experiencing. And then just asking in my mind, if I could represent that anxiety as a monster, because I'm succumbing to it because I feel it's bigger than me. What would that monster look like? And in my mind, so I closed my eyes, and in my mind, I saw this really large, gnarly monster. It's one of those ones that kind of towers over you like Godzilla, like I'm this little person, and there's this big monster towering over me. And this is where it gets almost cartoon-like, and you start to see right away how kind of funny it is that we think that this monster is actually bigger than us and is controlling me. And what I did then is I connected, and love also is the most healing energy around. I connected with that love in my heart. And this is something we all can do, and just asked what the truth was and how my heart saw the monster. And my heart, what my heart did is it helped me to come to, again, to a realization that I am more powerful than my anxiety. And as I did that in my mind, I could see the monster shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. It became smaller than me, and then smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until it became the size of the ant, and the size of an ant. And it started running it. And the words that came to me were, it headed for the hills. And I even looked up on the internet because I had a sense of what that was, but it says heading for the hills is a metaphorical phrase that means to flee or avoid a situation by going a long distance. So the monster just was gone along with my anxiety. So that's what we're going to do. And I'm hoping Sunny has something that you would that you would like to shrink down, so that you can connect with the truth of who you are, the power in whatever that area is. And also, I think it's important to acknowledge whatever it is that we're experiencing, we need to honor that as part of the journey. We shouldn't feel guilty like, oh, I'm afraid of this, whatever. It's all part of the journey, and we need to honor it and then bring our soul's truth to it. So that's what we're going to do. So what do you think, Sunny? Do you have something in mind?
Yes, I do. And something that has been on my mind. So I teach nursing, and we use the word sandwich generation when I talk about family dynamics. And that means having a child. My son is 19, he's still young, going to college, and elderly parents. And I've been a single mom. So, and now I have parents in their 80s. So I do get worried sometimes. I'm the only one for them, for my son and for my mom and for my dad. So sometimes I feel that anxiety of, can I be there for them the way I should be? And then today I was thinking, but you have faith all the time. Whenever I needed something, somebody came up, exactly provided what we needed. But still, I do have that anxiety. What is it going to happen? Everything's going to be okay. Once in a while, that comes my mind for sure.
Right. Right. And I think lots of us have those things that keep us up at night sometimes. And it's like, we can overcome them. And that's part of the journey is coming more to a place of wholeness and being able to view ourselves as having power over whatever it is, like, or having trust and faith in it too. So I'm just curious, Sunny, when you experience that anxiety, how strong is it on a scale of 1 to 10?
Um, well, my dad was choking the other day in front of my eyes, so that was pretty high. But in general, when I think about it, it can get up to 7.5. I want to say
Okay.
7 or 8.
And where do you feel it in your body?
In my throat and my heart.
Right.
Yes, and some in my solar plexus too. So it's kind of like
Yeah.
in front of my body.
And of course, your solar plexus is kind of the power center. Your throat is the expression center. So touching on those major themes that we're talking about. So just having your eyes closed again, if you imagine that anxiety as a monster, what would it look like?
It is dark, very dark green actually. And it's like a dinosaur. It's a huge dinosaur with big teeth, scary. And it's actually running after me. And I'm running away from it.
Okay. So do you feel like you're ready to transcend that?
Yes.
Okay, so I first would, again, I'd like to invite Mother Mary to overlight, or in other words, just to be present with us and to bless Sunny with her love as part of the healing. And then for Sunny to just open to that love that you hold in your heart and that truth about what is possible and who you are and what the truth is in this situation for feeling like you can be there as needed to support your family. And let me know what you notice opening to that love in your heart.
Yes. I see my heart as the rose garden. I see Mother Mary in front of me with a bouquet of roses. And actually, going back, that's how my heart is a rose garden. She planted all those beautiful roses in my heart. And she's looking at me and with utmost love and assurance that every step of the way, she has been there for me, especially as a mother. And now I will be, because when your parents get older, you almost take the role of the mother for them. You're watching over them. And so she's letting me know she's going to be there for me and guide me. And I just need to have faith and trust.
So as you open to that love and that energy and that truth, going back to that monster, what happens with the monster? When you're surrounded with that love and that guidance and that support.
I turned around, monster is to my right, and he is approaching me, running towards me. And this time I'm not running away. I actually took some of those flowers and threw at him. And those flowers just started entering his body, his being, and as each flower actually entered, he shrunk a little more and shrunk a little more and becoming kind of like a light being and sparkles.
So he's
and
transforming?
All the flowers, yes, that I'm throwing at him, and actually, poof, it became sparkles of light. and it's gone. And
Wonderful.
it was all my imagination that the worst can happen.
Mm-hmm. Right. So how strong is the anxiety now when you think about it?
It's actually, my ego wants to hold on to it. If I wanted to say 0, but my ego is like, what? So at this moment, it's actually 0.
Wonderful.
Yes.
And how is the feelings that you had in your throat and your heart and solar plexus?
My throat, it's just everything softened.
Mm-hmm.
And I can feel the sparkles of light. And because as it was exploded, it kind of touched me as well. And all the rose petals, now the roses are all open. It's all over me. And I feel soft. I don't feel any pressure. I just feel immense love.
And I'm curious from this perspective how you feel about where they are on their journey. For instance, your parents, about what's happening with them.
I feel that they have more appreciation for me than they did before. And they're trying their best. And I feel like finally they are proud of me. I never felt like they were.
Interesting. And what about being supported, about them being supported by beings of light who are around them? I know that in nursing too, you have for many years worked with people who were dying, and not that I'm saying your parents are dying at this moment, but just at that time in their life, and perceived angels with them.
I do see angels surrounding them, and I do pray for that, to lift them up, be there for them, and to help me the places that I need help. And transportation, doctor's appointment needed, and it's always been magnificent. And I know that their body goes away, but they don't die.
Right.
So I definitely see angels surrounding them. And even though I always prayed, and especially I go to the beach, I go in the ocean, do cold plunge, and I pray there, but now I actually see it. I see them surrounded by angels.
Oh, that's beautiful. Does that feel complete then?
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
And the point with this and with the monster image is that images are more powerful than words. You know, there's that idea, a picture is worth 1,000 words, that images, if we open to the images that are in our minds, are in our awareness when we're experiencing, it could be the fear monster, the anxiety monster, the unempowered monster. It could be the money monster, like no money monster. It can be anything that you're seeing as a force that's bigger than yourself. And when you see the image, that's metaphorically representing what's happening within you in relationship to it. And when you can open to the truth, and of course, for Sunny, we know Sunny. She's been working with us for many years, and is just a very powerful spiritual being in her own right. That it's easy for her to connect with that love and truth in her heart, and that's actually the foundation of all of our teachings, is to be able to open to your magnificence in your heart and the truth. The truth meaning that you can receive guidance about what is right in the situation. So the heart makes everything clear. And when you connect with that and get that perspective, rather than this perspective of anxiety or fear or whatever it is that was occurring before, it can completely shift the situation, which is what happened there. And also with the support of Mother Mary, which was, I think, so beautifully synchronous for this healing. When you invite those beings of light in, they are adding their support to it too. They'll help you to feel stronger, and they're bringing that healing. They're providing healing energy. So that was beautiful. Thank you, Sunny.
I still have Mother Mary with me here, and also I see Archangel Michael next to my son Ryan, and kind of shaking his head for reassurance. And my car, they're both my cars, but I bought a second car for my son to drive, and my car is Michael, and his car is Archangel Michael. So I can see him next to my son as well.
Yes, right.
Thank you.
Right.
Yeah, and for me, ultimately, both of my parents are gone now, but I do feel, and I feel like I can connect with that divine light and know that they are being guided and supported. And then I can just support them in the way that I can, and allow the journey to occur in the perfect way. So
yeah, thanks, Sunny. That was a wonderful experience for us to be a part of and support you.
Right.
Great.
And that's an example of how profound, and this is real healing, I think Sunny would say, wouldn't you, Sunny?
Oh, yes. Yes. I've had incredible healing with you and Philip are just so powerful, and people who have worked with you know that, and people who would be working with you, they'll feel it. But I started with in 2020, I signed up for my holistic life coach the first year. For the certificate. It was so powerful. I signed up another year just for my healing journey, because I was like, I thought, okay, I'm going to get a certificate. I didn't know it's going to be so life-changing, and just keeps on going. But I'm growing as time goes on. So there's more layers of like the onion, it comes off more and more. Then you get to the core of that beauty. There's something in the middle of that onion, and then that's a pearl that it's going to actually come out of it.
Right. Yeah. And Sunny's in the spiritual guide program now too, and has been with angels for many, many years. I don't even know how many years, maybe your whole life.
Yeah, right.
Very angelic in energy.
Thank you.
And that, if you can feel that energy that comes from that level of healing and that level of support from the divine, from Mother Mary in this case, it is sublime. It's something I every day I'm grateful, deeply grateful for the presence of these magnificent beings who are around me. And what happens, what I found working with the oracle cards like that, is you'll meet different ones and you'll find you're drawn to some and not so much to others. And at first I felt like maybe, I felt drawn to something, and I almost feel silly to say it, but I thought, well, maybe they don't want to work with me. As if that would be true anyhow, which isn't. But I think if you're drawn to some of them, and I think in my life, like one of the beings I talk about so frequently is Amaryssus. She's the divine complement of the Ascended Master El Moria, and not very well known at all. But I was just so drawn to her, and then I realized that I had a connection with her from a past life. And we do have those relationships with these divine beings that we're not aware of, but they exist. And to reconnect with them and learn that that is happening again, like, wow, she's there, and others too that I have felt drawn to. Now I know I know well enough to honor those experiences that I have, and to make those connections. I connect with amoresses often, like almost daily,
or make
because
new
she's also known as the goddess of light, and you can just ask her to provide you with a cascade of loving light, which I often do in the morning, and you can just feel. I can feel it now. Just feel. Ask her for it, amoresses, to send a blessing, a cascade of loving light, and it happens. We just open to it, and I think we feel it more as we open more to it, because our connection with the divine becomes stronger. But it is real. It's real, and it is so wondrous. It's almost hard to explain how wondrous it is.
So you will
It's something you have to
reconnect.
experience, really.
You will reconnect with past relationships of these divine beings that you may not be aware that you even have, and
Philip,
begin new ones.
your microphone is way off again.
You may begin new relationships too. I did one with Mother Mary in recent months, partly from these cards, and I feel very connected with her, and that would be something, a couple of years ago, it would be, that's very foreign to me, that idea. Now it's very familiar to me. So you have all this support, and that's what we talked about, connecting with the resources and getting the tools, which, as we're concluding here to go forward in our mystery school here, as we've called it at Awakenings Institute, our nonprofit organization based in California, the idea is to have a vehicle, a way for you to practice, a way for you to learn that's comfortable, that's safe, that's very enlivening and inspiring on a regular basis, that's targeted, that will accelerate your spiritual growth to live fully in the right way for you. And coming up very soon now is, and we've referred to it, is the Spiritual Guide Certification Program, beginning September 11th. And there's a tinyurl.com/spirit-course to go there to see the description of it. And it has 3 courses that are 4 months each, and it's well worth spending 4 months or more. Actually, the whole program is 12 months, but you could take one course even. Next one, September 11th, we've been talking about spiritual transformation with goddesses, gods, and ascended masters today. And then another course in the Spiritual Guide Certification Program would be creating abundance with archangels and oracles, and then awakening to your magnificence with the Akashic records. And they all work wonderfully well together. And in this program, if it's something you're drawn to, you're going to be able to claim your power and voice. And it's just as Sunny did, and you saw a great demonstration, except she mentioned there's still some elements of the ego, which I'm not surprised, which are pulling at her. And that's why you want to have an ongoing study and support system to overcome getting thrown back into the old paradigms. So you're going to claim your power through the program, clear blocks like we showed you, one of the many processes that we'll do weekly. And their weekly classes all recorded for about an hour and a half. You're going to know how to balance your feminine and masculine energies. This is very important to do. There's other polarities, spiritual and earthly polarities. Very important to know about that and how to balance that. You're going to develop deep connections and support from the higher realms, and integrating that vibration of the creator within. And you'll connect with other people in the class, a unique opportunity in a small group to connect with other people. And what you actually receive in the program, I mentioned the weekly classes at this time on Wednesdays, all recorded. If you miss any, there's a lot of hands-on exercises, demos, handouts. We mentioned our new book, Awakening to Your Magnificence, exclusive book, and there's a guidebook on oracle readings, how to do this step by step, that's designed for this course. There's another exclusive guidebook on oracles, angels, and enlightened masters, kind of to figure out how this all works together. one of the keys is soul centering. We mentioned connecting with your soul. We have some audios and videos on how to do that. It's relatively easy. There's different energy healing techniques like Jane showed you today, the monster reframe. We have another guidebook, and this is something that's surprisingly obscure, is the co-creating with the elemental kingdom and the beings who oversee that, and a lot of targeted handouts in that too. And
which we're finishing right now. Actually.
We're finishing. It's a brand new little guidebook.
Yet.
Yeah, so that's something you won't find
It'll
anywhere
be coming
else.
Out, yeah.
So you're going to have a lot of tools and resources for your library to help you along in this program. And I know Sunny had taken the course. She mentioned a little bit, and there's a few people who are attending who've taken some of our spiritual guide program, which is coming. Maybe someone could share. I know there's David and Susan and Cheryl here. If any of you can just share a little bit now about your experience taking the program, that would be great.
David.
Yeah,
David?
I just that last slide, like you guys are, in the business of over providing. and every class, it just amazes me how much information you provide and guidance and learning. And that slide was just once more, it's like how much you give is amazing, and I'm very grateful to have experienced it, and I'm going to be there again too. So
yeah, good. And being with people like Sunny and David and people like that, it's a rare opportunity. You're not going to find people like that around the block. You may find wonderful, beautiful people in your life, but these are very special, like-minded people who can support you directly on your journey, developing relationships. There's labs and practices in the class where you can practice like a techniques and the things that we showed you, Jane did, so you can learn how to do them.
Right.
And just an idea.
I wanted to add something too. So this is an incredible opportunity for a very, very reasonable price. And one of my friends, she's a life coach, and currently I don't work as a life coach, but I did for a period of time now that I'm using it at my practice teaching nursing and in life. But she took her course for $10,000. She did her life coach, and it's not even that approach that Jane and Philip have. They give you real tools of how to deal with pretty much everything. And also their spiritual aspect of it is so valuable. The holistic approach to every class and everything that they provide, it's amazing. And it's, the pricing is just unbelievably reasonable too. And I know they're doing it because that's their mission, and it's coming out of their heart and goodness of just their beautiful souls. So I wanted to share that too.
Thank you.
Thanks. And we do have another program on spiritual holistic coaching and healing, but the one I'm referring to that relates directly to the training, the overview today, is the spiritual guide certification programs, starting with that Goddesses, Gods, and Masters course. And just since we were talking about pricing, that I wanted to show you just what pricing of things. Here's a certified angel guide course from Hay House. It's $4.99. What it is, I'm assuming it's probably a good course. It has 9 pre-recorded video lessons. That's what it has. If you would get it, it wouldn't be every week live with us. All the extra materials we shared with you in the group and ways to connect with them. Our course is very reasonable. We keep it affordable. If you're taking the single course coming up September 11th, the Goddess, Gods, and Ascended Masters course, it's $99 for 4 payments. Or we recommend actually taking the whole Spiritual Guide 3-course program. Each course is 4 months, so the 12 months would be $95. And this is a whole system, and it will give you opportunities to make profound changes in your life. Or there's a single payment is the kind of the best offer there too. And It begins September 11th, and we encourage you to enroll now if you're interested. We actually have a little bonus for the next 48 hours coming up very soon if you catch that, where we will give you a free reading, Jane or I, for a 20-minute reading if you enroll, too, as an extra bonus. And go to tinyurl.com/spirit-course to get the whole overview and to enroll. And I encourage you to do that. I think it'll be fun. We'll be loving being with you. And Jane, did you want to add anything else before we're closing here?
Just a couple practical notes. Well, one other one is we do have actually an overview class, which is next week at the same time as this class was today. So it would be next Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific time. It's an overview of that whole course, the Archangels, Gods and Masters course, where we'll be going further into it. If you enroll now, which I would recommend if you want to do it, it's a good time to get the free reading, and also you're a couple weeks ahead of when the course formally starts, which gives you time to maybe read the book on Awakening to Your Magnificence as an overview. That provides the whole big picture of what we're doing. Also, you will be purchasing Oracle and Tarot cards. We use, there are 4 decks we recommend for each of the courses, which are listed on your resource page. And you could purchase those. It takes a little time for them to arrive, and start looking at the guidebooks and getting accustomed to them. And just as a note, until tomorrow, I think the August 29th, Hay House is having a sale on Tarot and Oracle cards, and 2 of those decks that we have recommended for this course are Hay House decks. So there would be a savings if you purchase them right away too. So we welcome anyone and everyone who feels like this is right for you.
Yeah, it's great being with everyone. We know some people are already enrolled in the Spiritual Guide program. Other people will be joining us, and it was just great being with everyone. And we look forward to being with you soon.
Yeah, and Aline, it's nice seeing you.
It's nice
we
seeing
haven't
some
seen
of
you
our
for a
old
while.
friends and
Look
people
forward
too.
to connecting.
Great being with you. Great
Yeah.
being with you for becoming unstuck, claiming your power, finding your voice.